Hello, this is some old guy in Hawaii, and we are here to look at one of the key features of Civilization VII, the way it transitions the player from one age to another, from antiquity to exploration, and exploration to modern. Some of it is straightforward and makes sense, but a lot of it is either buggy or head-scratching, and a lot of what happens is behind the scenes. So I'm going to go into some detail so you're at least aware of how it works and potential issues. Now we'll use this game file I saved right before an age transition to show our before picture, then we'll look at the transition process, then finally we'll compare our after picture to the before one. So the 100% in the upper left tells us the age of antiquity is about to end. Here's our before picture. Upper top left yields our empire-wide numbers to include 1606 gold. We have currently 8 settlements, 2 of which are cities, Rome and Mediolanum. Clicking on the empire yields bar brings up the yield details. Scrolling to the bottom shows us the number of each type of our units. 3 legatus, army commanders, 5 archers, 8 legions, infantry, 1 ballista, siege weapon, 2 scouts, 1 trireme, naval unit, and 1 migrant. FYI, in recent tests, the trireme disappeared from this summary, but it is in fact there on the map. Okay, migrants are single units of population that appear to flee some settlements during crises. Crises happen near the end of an age, starting at the 70% age completion mark. Okay, so not counting the scouts and trireme, that's 16 land units and 3 commanders. Those numbers will become important later. Okay. There are only 2 independent powers we can see, Tiwanaku and Akmonia. We are suzerain for both. We also have active trades routes with several civs. Lastly, go to the load game screen and then the autosave's current default settings save our game every turn going back 10 turns. Notice that these autosaves are not from this particular playthrough. This is from a different recent playthrough. Nonetheless, 10 autosave files. So let's get started. Once the transition starts, we get a banner saying the age of antiquity is ending. We get through that banner and through the age ending cutscene, which we can do by pressing escape. Now we are in transition. We are given several bits of info and a few choices. This shows the legacy points we earned by reaching different milestones in each legacy track in the previous age. We'll get a chance to distribute those shortly. Here we get to choose our next civ. You can also change either or both mementos you may have slotted at game start. That is, if you notice the button down here and remember to do so. I have a bad habit of overlooking it, and it could be a little more obvious. Okay, pick our civ, change mementos if desired, then go. Program goes round and round, and then eventually we are back to the map, but the transition has not quite finished. The aforementioned legacy points can be distributed here. Click on that, and then we get the banner proclaiming the dawn of the age of exploration. We pick our legacy perks. I take the Gain the Piety Civic for Free perk. I also take one that will give us 3 free infantry. There's also an option to change your capital to one of 2 completely different settlements, and I have renamed and have it renamed in line with your new civilization's culture, and it costs nothing. Make your choices. Hit confirm, and now we're done. Now we have our after picture. A couple of things right off the bat. We did not get piety, which costs not 1 but 2 legacy points. This has been happening consistently with other games, not just this save file. Pretty sure that's a bug. We have a lot more money than before. 2698 gold, 1392 more than we started with. Why? What determines how much gold we have at age start? Okay, based on numerous games, how much gold after versus gold before has no apparent rhyme or reason. Sometimes it's a bit more or less, sometimes it's a lot more or less. In a recent game, I went from 5 figures to the low 4s between exploration and modern ages. Now, I could suggest a number of possible factors if the amounts were consistently more or less, but there is no pattern I've yet to see. Okay. We also now have fewer cities, 1 to be exact, our capital. Mediolanum has been reverted back to a town. This is by design, and I do not know why. There are 2 ways to change them back. If we complete the economic legacy path Silk Roads during the Antiquity Age, 1 legacy point option will be to allow all of our cities from that age to remain cities. Otherwise, our only option is to pay to convert them back to cities, which sounds extremely unfair. Now, the cost to convert a settlement to a city could be a small fraction of our gold, or prohibitively high, or impossible to cover. Again, can't say because we don't know what determines how much gold we start with after transition. Okay, our former cities at least get to keep all of their improvements, including the ones you can't normally build in a town. But then again, the majority of these are likely obsolete in the new age, providing only a baseline amount of their previous age yields. All former independent powers are gone, along with their status as suzerain to any of them. Not happy about that. Where'd they all go? What's the rationale? Why are my allies suddenly gone? Okay, new ones will appear, which is great, but now I have to pay more influence and compete with everyone else, yet again, to establish new relationships. This happens with both age transitions. Okay, anything under construction goes away, including wonders. Okay, fair enough, although I'm not sure if the production gets refunded. That would be kind of nice. Merchants and exploration age treasure fleets in transition are lost. The merchant loss is even weirder when we realize that all pre-existing trade routes also go away, and we now have to research a new civic economics to regain the ability to build trade units. Okay, remember researching the Code of Laws civic to unlock merchants and set up trade all throughout the age of antiquity? Well, after transitioning to the next age, everybody suddenly forgets how to do that, and we have to do it yet again with steam technology in the modern age. And yet we can still enact improved trade treaties right at the start of the age. Why not just let everybody keep the ability to produce trade units at the start of subsequent ages? Okay. Diplomatic relationships undergo a weird reset. The last relationship scores with each leader are carried over with the new baseline number listed as previous age. But then there are certain modifiers for certain conditions that are applied to that score, even if those conditions are long-standing and were factored in the earlier age. In one game, I had two leaders with whom I was very friendly with at the end of the previous exploration age. At the start of the modern age, my relationship score said plus 60 previous age for both, but that was followed by minus 10 for borders touching. Our borders were touching way back in the age of antiquity. Again, very strange. Okay. Finally, let's take a look at our units. Units, types and numbers, and unit upgrades and unit disposition. Our units, all of them, get upgraded to the exploration age baseline for their unit category. Okay, everybody gets heavy archers, swordsmen, coursers, cogs, etc., or their specific equivalent. Okay, I have mixed feelings about this. On the one hand, if the game wants to upgrade all my units for free, I'll take it. On the other hand, since the game does this for all civs, this instant shift automatically alters the balance of military power, sometimes drastically. Okay. Some civs maintain superiority or balance over rivals by fielding a smaller number of more powerful units than their rivals. Egyptian medjays, which are extremely tough defending at home, come to mind. A small Egyptian military with a lot of medjays can hold off rivals with double or more the number of units and pursue a more peaceful strategy by spending production and money on a larger force. Okay. The advantage of quality over quantity. But that's before transition. Upon transitioning, that advantage is wiped out in one turn, and now it's the other civ that has a distinct quantitative advantage. Again, very strange. Okay, let's compare the actual numbers and types of units before and after. 3 commanders as before, 11 swordsmen, that's 3 more than the 8 infantry units we had before because we took the legacy perk. 5 archers, that matches our former number of archers, and a cog replacing the trireme. Our scouts and our siege weapon are missing. Okay, now the rule is the game will upgrade and keep as many units as we have settlements plus whatever will fit into any commander. This is generally, but not always, the case. I don't think I've ever seen a perfect 1-to-1 match before and after. Okay, we had 8 settlements and 3 commanders, the latter with spots for 4 units each. That makes 20 spots. We had 19, not counting a naval unit, so why are those other units missing? Okay, I've never seen a scout transfer over, although I did once notice one converted to a swordsman. Sometimes entire types, siege weapons in this case, go missing. I had a game a while back that I stopped playing because it didn't transfer over all 7 of my galleons, top-of-the-line exploration age naval units, even though I had 2 fleet commanders, which did make the transition. I've also seen naval units transfer over but not initially show up in the global yields breakdown. I had a recent game where upon transitioning to the age of exploration, the breakdown showed no cogs, even though I had a quadrime previously. I immediately purchased one, then spotted another cog and checked the breakdown and didn't show 2 cogs. Okay, now maybe there's some kind of power level math happening that decides, 8 of a particular new age unit is worth, say, 10 of their early age equivalents. I don't know. Whatever the underlying mechanics of what to keep and what not are, and/or associated bugs that need to be further explained, tweaked, and fixed. Okay. Lastly, and perhaps most frustrating, is unit disposition, unit placement. You would think units would be left exactly where they were at the end of the last age, including those packed into commanders. Nope. Unit placement has nothing to do with their location at the end of the previous age. The game will normally place 1 unit in every or almost every city center and then distribute the rest to commanders also placed in city centers. And the number and types of units packed into a commander often seem random. Sometimes entire units are packed into one type, or packed into one, which is rarely how one would use them in the field. Okay. In the case of naval units, they get moved to a port facility of some sort. If the capital city has one, that seems to be the default, but not always. They rarely end up where we want them to go. This happens repeatedly. I try to get ready for exploration with 1 or 2 naval units on a particular coast, and then bam, they get stuck on the other coast. Okay, why can't the placement of units, including commanders, correspond to how they were set up previously? It would certainly seem a lot easier. Why force us to run around reorganizing and moving units all over the map, and in some cases be forced to produce or buy new ones or make diplomatic deals we don't want to get them back where we left things? Okay. One other oddity of note: autosaves from the previous ages are wiped out. Actually, that's not entirely true. I've been informed that they are moved to a different file, but of course, unless we can easily access that file in-game, that's a problem. I assume we need to find the appropriate folder, rename the file we want, and then move them back to the local save folder if we wish to load them, which is ridiculous. Okay. What all of these head-scratching situations suggest to me is confusion between what needs to be done when a player starts a game in later ages versus starting at the very beginning in the Age of Antiquity. A cold start in later ages means the game needs to give all civs, human and AI, roughly equal setups, map locations and resources, cities and towns, number and quality disposition of military units, etc. But transitioning from an early age does not require that balancing act, or much of it anyway. Having to research a civic to build merchants is not necessary, even if starting fresh in later ages. Now, I'm not against some tweaking to give civs that fell behind a chance to catch up, but a lot of these resets unnecessarily frustrate and/or handicap and/or penalize the player. And it often makes a complete game feel less like one long continuous playthrough and more like 3 separate games, one after another, which is exactly what you don't want. But until Fire Access hopefully addresses some or all of these issues, at least you now know about them and can play accordingly. If you like this kind of content, like, comment, and subscribe. Stay safe, and thanks for watching.